What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is Dawson. Our broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Thursday. Thirsty Thursday, folks. Another $20,000 in the drain. You already know. Paid for it again. This one's titled, I Love When My Enemies Hate Me. How Hasan Piker became one of the biggest voices on the left, on the US left. This photo is so strange. I don't know why. I mean, the photographer was goated. We took photos all around the house, and he ended up going with this one, even though, like, I feel like my neck looks weird on this. Every day he broadcasts a marathon Twitch stream, airing his views to 3 million followers has led to fame and some fear in a country ever more politically divided. Hasan Piker calls it the bus driver test. Oh my God, he came in hot with the bus driver test, chat. The bus driver test is making it mainstream. Ethnic Santa is excited. He's dancing. He's like, yep, that's right. The bus driver test is making it mainstream. It's making it big. We love it. Hasan Piker calls it the bus driver test. You get on a bus and you have 30 seconds to explain whatever online phenomena took place to the bus driver without them looking at you and going, get off the fucking bus. Most online discourse, no matter how heated, fails the test, he says. Not least an incident last weekend when someone on a Dublin street asked to take a picture with Piker, then held up a picture of his dog and shouted, "Free Kaya." Never mind the bus driver trying to explain the significance of this particular event. Might well take the rest of this article, but the wider point is that there is a jarring overlap, or more often, disconnect between the online and offline worlds. Oh, speaking of the guy who did that, apparently that's like an Irish nationalist, like right winger. It turns out he's like an Irish influencer. My subreddit actually tracked it down and found him. No, not like a Irish nationalist. Like, sorry, no, not an Irish nationalist. Like a far right nationalist in Ireland that is a West Brit. I'm using the term white nationalist in like the way we do in America. He is a unionist. He's the one who also self-edited the video. Isn't that crazy? That you know how we were like, oh, where did this video come from where they fucking edited it? It was him. It's this guy, Keith Woods, I think. You know how like he muted this part? He muted the part where I say, hey, nice to meet you. And he responds with, nice to meet you too, man. He went in, he did this thing, and then he fucking muted the part of the video where I'm like super cordial with him because he was embarrassed.
Just got a photo of Hasan. Yeah. Please. I don't have my phone with me. Can we just
screen photo?
Here. Yeah. Right. Free Kaya. Free Kaya.
Yeah, notice how the entire video goes silent for a second. So you lied. It was actually, in fact, not nice to meet him. No, it's always nice to meet fans. I should have signed his fucking, poster. He got it straight up, put on a canvas, dude. The trembling stream sniper was Keith O'Brien, who goes by Keith Woods online. He was wearing the same jacket during his reporting of the violent protests of the former City West Hotel. His face is easily identifiable as the coward behind the mask. He also made an unsubtle post about the interaction. Hasan is visiting Ireland. Some interesting interactions so far. He is a great replacement, race realist, far-right influencer with views so abhorrent. He's been banned from many platforms and was too odious for the National Party. These are the type of people promoting the shock collars mirror to try to delegitimize Hasan in the eyes of gullible and willfully ignorant people on social media. If you know more about Keith, Hope and Courage Collective, HNCC, has a recent report about him called Plastic Patriots. Because this was the OG clip.
I don't have my phone with me. Can we just
screen photo?
Here. Yeah. Right. Free Kaya. Free Kaya.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you.
I go, nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. And I laugh it off. And this motherfucker was so embarrassed by his reaction. He had I accidentally told the waiter I love you moment. You know what I mean? Like an anxious guy. Mr. Socially maladjusted, anxious, nervous guy. Nervous Nelly. Yeah, when you call your teacher mom, or when your waiter says, have a nice dinner, and you turn around and say, you too. And it's so funny because he edited it this way to make, and then all the dumb fucks were like, he was rendered speechless. Yeah, I was so speechless the entire fucking video got muted, actually.
Free Kaya.
Jesus, I'll tell you what, the power of social media. Nuts.
He wanted you to get mad so bad. Yeah, I know. And it didn't work. So he had to fucking manipulate it. And it still didn't work. Especially because this interaction, so I was talking to the Guardian reporter, right, about this exact interaction, and he didn't get the reaction he wanted. But it was also, I mean, Lorcan is a normie, right? This is how normies react to this shit. Lorcan was like, wow, you have so many fans. Like, Like, he has no idea what the fuck's going on. This interaction in and of itself is
guy.
a perfect demonstration of how you can just like manipulate people on the internet to feel a certain type of way about an incident that they literally saw with their own two eyes and heard, right? Just a shitty edit where you just mute the part, like where you mute a certain part to make it seem like it's not cordial or I was rendered speechless. And that's all it takes. And yet there's enough context clues in this incident in and of itself to show you that it didn't go down the way he wanted it to. And yet he still chose to manipulate the footage, and people still chose to run. People still ran with the manipulated footage and the manipulated framing. So there are two separate realities now, is what I mean. A lot of people assume, oh, I can see something, I can hear something, so I actually have all the context necessary. And yet that's not the case. This is a perfect demonstration of the unreality, the alternative reality that you can lean into on the extremely online spheres as opposed to the real world, right? I think it's a very fascinating phenomena. Yeah, LSF did the same thing about when I was at the Zoran election party, where people can just like manipulate things and rob it of its context and frame it in a very cynical way, where I could be at the Zoran rally with all these people, do all these interviews, and people could still be like, Zoran actually hates Hasan. He actually kicked him out. I mean, it's a very interesting phenomena.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Jesus, I'll tell you what.
But even the rest of the video shows like, he has no, like, normies don't have any fucking understanding of this. They don't realize this at all. This is the guy. YouTube is monetizing and helping raise funds for Keith Woods, a white nationalist and self-described raging anti-Semite. Woods has also raised tens of thousands of dollars for the crowd on the crowdfunding platform Buy Me a Coffee. So that's the guy that Ethan Klein was posting about, getting really stoked on. But that's not the first, nor will it be the last raging anti-Semite that my former podcast co-host, who is also Jewish and seemingly on a conquest to eradicate anti-Semitism on the internet, will highlight and platform. Never mind the bus driver trying to explain the significance of this particular event might well take the rest of this article, but the wider point is that there is a jarring overlap, or more often disconnect, between the online and offline worlds. Piker finds himself in this in-between space more and more these days. Until fairly recently, the 34-year-old was familiar only to the very online, especially Americans in their 20s and 30s, largely thanks to his presence on the streaming channel Twitch, where he has 3 million followers. But since Donald Trump's election, Piker has become an in-demand voice in the real world for his views on the beleaguered political left, and especially that inordinately fretted over demographic, young men. Predictably, this also makes Piker a favorite hate figure on the political right. To his enemies, there's plenty to dislike: his outspoken political views, his Turkish Muslim background, his allegiances with progressive politicians such as Zoran Mamdani, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, all of whom have appeared on his show. But they also hate the fact that Piker, tall, muscular, fashionable, and handsome, is far too alpha to fit the lefty stereotypes. He has not been afraid to leverage his henchness in shirtless, sometimes even trouserless magazine photo shoots or selfies on his socials, generating articles such as 30 sexy pics of Hasan Piker that prove the only thing that is hotter than his takes is his bod. He's regularly called things such as the Joe Rogan of the left, yawn, or the AOC of Twitch, or a himbo gateway drug to leftist thought, none of which quite captures him. I'll be honest, I had no idea that this is what I was going to be doing, says Piker from his Los Angeles studio. Like, if someone were to ask me, did you ever think that you become a Twitch streamer? I'd be like, what is Twitch? The concept of a YouTube influencer didn't even exist when I was growing up. It's the morning, and he's preparing to start his daily 11 a.m. show. He usually broadcasts live for 7 or 8 hours straight, talking off the cuff about current affairs, lifestyle choices, what he's up to, playing video games, reacting to memes and media clips, and interacting with a constant stream of messages that scroll by in the top left corner of the screen. It's a communal experience, a good hang, you might say. It also sounds exhausting. He has estimated that in 2020, he spent 42% of the entire year live streaming. I've lowered it to 7 hours a day, but sometimes I still do 8. And on top of that, I'll take Sundays off now. He's already running late this morning. As we continue talking, his Twitch chatter begins to fill with "where the hell is he" posts. Yeah, offliners, you got to mention in this as well. As always, establishing himself on Twitch, which is primarily a platform for live streaming video games and has been owned by Amazon since 2014, was a conscious decision, Piker says. His media career started out with the Young Turks, the progressive online news network co-founded by his maternal uncle, Cenk Uygur. Piker's parents are Turkish immigrants, and he grew up between New Jersey and Istanbul before studying political science and communication studies at Rutgers University. He graduated to hosting his own show in the Young Turks 2016, earning the title Woke Bay in the process, but in 2018 he decided to go solo on Twitch to counterbalance what he saw as the overwhelmingly right-wing, often racist, misogynistic, and xenophobic views that infested the space. There's a lot of ideological diversity amongst the gamers, amongst the developers, amongst the consumers, but unfortunately the market for political expression in this hobby is so heavily dominated by the right, And that's the same for pretty much everything, he says. Physical fitness, for example. It's now assumed that any young male who goes to the gym is likely to end up in the thrall to Andrew Tate and other manosphere bros. This creates this weird attitude where a lot of liberal or progressive people look to these spaces and think, why is everyone such a right-winger, he says. And I don't think that's the case. It's just that is what it looks like on the internet. This is the problem with the American left in general, says Piker. They've conceded so many cultural spaces to the right. You still have to market your ideas, but they just completely gave up on all notion of marketing or branding. They think these are bourgeois concepts, but unfortunately, it's actually doubly important to try and engage people and try to make these sorts of politics more appealing, because there's a century of anti-socialist thought that is deeply baked into the American collective consciousness, whether it be Red Scare propaganda or the modern version of that, which has become basically telling children sharing is caring is actually communism. Piker is consistently critical of the Trump administration on his show, especially its foreign and immigration policies, but he is no loyal Democrat. Even before the 2024 presidential election, Piker was not optimistic about their prospects, bemoaning how little Kamala Harris and the Democrats were really offering, how they were losing young men, and how much better organized the Trump campaign was online. His own politics are broadly social democrat and empathy first, he explains. My position is actually the normal position in most of the world, but it's like a very abnormal position that many Americans have not encountered. One of the dangers of Piker's type of relaxed, relatable, long-form commentary is that he'll occasionally go too far, which gives his opponents ammunition. He's been suspended from Twitch 4 times for perceived offensive content, including once for calling a white person a cracker. Most notoriously in 2019, in the context of a broader critique of American foreign policy, he said that America deserved 9/11, a comment that was seized upon by Fox News and other outlets. Piker later apologized and said the language was inappropriate, but the Muslim Communist Terrorist Association has never gone away. The 9/11 comment resurfaced earlier this year during the New York mayoral race, for instance, as a part of an attack ad against Mamdani, of whom Piker was an early supporter. Likewise, Piker's vocal support for Palestinians and the condemnation of Israel and Zionism have led to accusations of anti-Semitism. Piker says he has never criticized Jewish people. He has also been ridiculed for expressing admiration for China after a trip there last month. Regardless of his flaws and repressive attitudes toward certain groups or whatnot, they have done a phenomenal achievement in greatly improving the material conditions of the average Chinese person, he tells me. Piker isn't particularly fazed by any of this, it seems. I have no issues getting vilified by people on the right. I love when my enemies hate me, he says. It is what it is. They talk shit. What are you gonna do? The hate constantly threatens to spill offline, however. In May, Piker was detained for 2 hours by U.S. border agents on his return from France. He is an American citizen. They questioned him about his views on Trump and Gaza before letting him go, he said. I think they did it because they know who the fuck I am, and they wanted to put the fear of God into me. In September, the Trump ally Laura Loomer posted on X, hopefully today President Trump can negotiate the permanent deportation of Hasan Piker back to Turkey. It's time for him to go home. Piker's reply was succinct. I was born here, dumbass. These levels of enmity help explain the Free Kai incident in Dublin, which may not pass the bus driver test, but illustrates the weirdness of Piker's offline/online reality. It started with a Twitch stream Piker did in October, during which his dog Kai, who was often seen sleeping in the background, suddenly yelped just as Piker was doing something with his hand off camera. Conspiracy theorists swiftly concluded that Piker was activating a shock collar on the dog and that he was therefore a cruel and terrible human being. In reality, Piker explained Kai had clipped her foot on something while he happened to be reaching for a can of Zyn nicotine pouches. He held up the dog collar for inspection on camera. This didn't stop his opponents piling on, combing through previous streams in search of evidence of animal cruelty and making Collargate a meme. Even people for the ethical treatment of animals, PETA, put out a statement. Hasan Piker has denied using a shock collar on his dog, and we hope that's true. Hence the ambush by a random person in Dublin. Piker took that encounter in his stride. People recognize him in the street all the time. He just said, nice to meet you, and nothing else happened. Online, though, the encounter was clipped from his live stream and disseminated with Piker's nice to meet you reply edited out. They wanted to make it look like I was, shocked, devastated, right? And it didn't even happen in the real world. So they had to manipulate the footage. Even if it fails the bus driver test, this kind of online outrage is constantly being manufactured, amplified, fed into the anti-Piker feedback loop. Even us having this conversation is probably going to lead to other people going, oh, we got one on him. He's very shaken by this, so we should do it again. This is the evidence between the offline and online worlds in a nutshell. He says, it's very difficult to maintain a very negative energy in the real world without coming across as hysterical and odd. Interactions on the internet actually create this environment where you can be as hostile as you want, as ruthless as you want. But in the real world, if you behave like that, most people look at you and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? That encounter was relatively low stakes because it happened in Ireland, where Piker was receiving an award from Trinity College. In the US, he feels less safe. The assassination of Charlie Kirk in September was a shocking example of where this online hate can now end up. Piker and Kirk were kind of contemporaries, mirror images even. The two had debated each other on stage in the past and were set to do so again in 2 weeks' time when Kirk was shot at an outdoor event at Utah Valley University. Piker watched the event unfold in real time on his live stream, his reaction turning from disbelief to horror as his followers sent him updates and video clips, which he did not broadcast. Piker still does real-life live streams in the US. I can't let fear guide my life. I've gotten death threats for the last 12 years. It certainly peaked during the Charlie Kirk stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just an unfortunate consequence of being in this space. Unhealthy parasocial relationships come with the territory he accepts, and they can very quickly turn around and create very unhealthy stalker-style relationships. The love can turn into hate very quickly. Is there a way to cultivate healthy parasocial relationships then? I try to direct people back to doing stuff in the real world, like organizing. Just being around other human beings and communicating with them is profoundly important. I can't believe this is something that we even have to talk about. Does he practice what he preaches? The guy who spends all day broadcasting from his room. I'm broadcasting 8 hours a day. You're absolutely right, he says. And yet, every moment that I'm not online, I'm out in the real world. I do not shy away from going outside, going to third spaces, whether it be public parks, constantly engaging with my normie friends, people that don't even have Instagram accounts. That's how I try to stay as grounded as possible. He has many allies and friends in the streaming world too. But largely, he keeps his offline life strictly private. Having been so prescient about the 2024 election, how does Piker feel about the next few years in U.S. politics? Things change quite rapidly, but if you look at the avenues where there is some semblance of hope, it's the left candidates that are actually really galvanizing the public, he says. He's talking about the progressive left flank, Mamdani, AOC Omar, his own generation. We have to lean into that because I feel like it's a matter of life and death at this point. Like the death of democracy. So if the Democrats continue getting in the way of the left flank candidate, I foresee the political environment turning really, really dark. It already has, but it's going to most likely get worse. So I will do everything in my power to try and avoid that alternative. The American left could arguably do with someone like Piker, someone who's genuine, incisive, a skilled communicator with a loyal fan base, and easy on the eye. But it doesn't sound as if Piker is tempted. He makes the occasional appearance on panel discussions, podcasts, and even television, but he's not tempted any further into traditional media, he says, partly because he wouldn't enjoy the levels of editorial control, but also because the audience is moving in my direction and away from legacy publishers. Unless things radically change, he has no plans to do anything different, he says. I'm just taking everything one day at a time. Perhaps he's more useful where he is, fighting it out, cutting through, in what, to many, is hostile or alien territory. But on top of that, he still clearly enjoys it. I find a lot of emotional fulfillment in what I do. As he's talking, he's got one eye on the clock in his message feed. It's nearly 11:30. Right now, my offline chat is freaking out that I'm not live yet. Another marathon live stream awaits, and he's itching to get started. Boom. Great article. Another 20 grand in the books. What a great low IQ article. Yeah, dude, one day your favorite content creator is going to get this, get a really good high IQ article and you can celebrate it. This one was a lot better than most. I love the quote in the headline. Puff piece PR for the win. Yeah. 20,000 quid. Nice. A bit of a puff piece. I mean, yeah, I think they're profiling people who are doing political commentary. That's why they did it on me. I don't know. Hey man, I don't want to come after you and I won't deny that this question was inspired by the recent Chomsky video by a certain Greek who I understand is a bit of a sore spot. However, the recent mainstream coverage you have been getting, especially from The Guardian, which is a centrist newspaper, has me wondering why these outlets let you on their platforms. This puzzles me, especially when I examine from a Chomskyan lens. Do you think it's genuinely that they are cataloging political commentators? No, it's because I'm a sheepdog for the Democratic Party and I'm safe. I'm serious. It might be a sincere question, but it doesn't mean that it's like a valid one or a legitimate one. If I'm thinking about this critically, I think at this stage, they're just so far behind on understanding the internet and understanding, you know, culture has shifted so dramatically that they're just profiling whoever the fuck they can. And that's precisely the reason why you see profiles on like Nick Fuentes too. As far as sore subjects or you know, untouchable pariahs, like anyone with his repugnant views on anti-Semitism, not Israel, but like even Israel as well, because I wouldn't say like, you know, being anti-Israel is a repugnant viewpoint, but his views on Jews in general, like organized Jewry, international Jewry, that sort of stuff was just like a non-starter. People just wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And I think the reason why people are even going so far as to cover that sort of stuff is because they are they're so far behind in terms of understanding culture, where people are organizing, where people are mobilizing, which happens to be the internet, that they have no way of I mean, they're just doing it to everybody. Also, you have to remember, I have a big audience. right? So that's fascinating for a lot of people in the media whose audience sizes are shrinking. They obviously have to figure out, like, why does this guy have such a big audience? What is he doing with his audience? All that stuff, and teach it to the boomers. And the second reason is because I also do have like-minded individuals in the media. Like, there are a lot of journalists in this chat at any given moment. What's actually shocking to me, I would say, is not necessarily that I get profiled, because I have gotten those profiles even at my most like politically unsavory moments. Because back then, I think it was more so just like people trying to sneak in like their own personal positions on Israel. That's like very different than the newspaper's position on Israel by giving me like a puff piece, but then trying to sneak that in as like he's hot and he knows how to talk to young men, rather than actually address my points of view. What's unique now, I think, is that they're actually moving in that direction where they are factoring in my politics and what I say into the conversation. That's new. I don't have proof for this, but my suspicion is, I think what changed was the Vanity Fair piece, or not Vanity Fair, Variety. Fuck, I keep saying Vanity Fair. There was a Vanity Fair piece as well, but it was the Variety piece. It was the Zoran victory, and it was the Variety piece where they just straight up put all of my politics in the article, and it went fucking crazy. Like it did really well. Easy to mix it up when they're all 20K. Yeah, exactly. I will say, I think what's interesting about this, like I said, is the fact that they are no longer just like sneaking me into the discourse or offering some sneaky coverage on like things that I've said, or, you know, whatever, not things that I've said, but like who I am and what my appeal is, as they try to identify how I'm able to communicate with young men or whatever. But instead, now they're actually talking about my politics, my worldview. And I think that's because the attitude is shifting in our direction in mainstream media. Like I said in the Guardian profile, people are starting to recognize that left politics is very popular, and it has a real grassroots backing. They're trying to dull that message to the best of their ability by saying, oh, it's just affordability. It's just affordability. Just say you care about affordability and move on. But I think left politics now in America is becoming more and more a part of the forefront of the conversation. I understand 20K is a meme, but do you need to pay some amount for these articles, or do you need to be a disclaimer in the article? No, I don't pay for any of these fucking articles. What are you, crazy? These are like real newspapers, Chad. I don't even have a fucking PR team or a PR person at all. How could a PR person actually do PR for someone like myself?